yeah. I wanna visit all the places nobody goes. I wanna teach all the things that nobody knows. I wanna grow wings, leave the coop, learn to fly. Bungee jump from the tallest building in Dubai. I wanna fly around town in my UFO. I wanna eat real food, not the GMOs. I wanna make moves, call the shots like the boss. I wanna love like I never lost.
Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze was sponsored by Dork Publishing. Visit them at dorkpublishing.com.
Welcome back to Desertwood Days. Let's welcome our first guest, comedian Kirk Williams. Hello there.
Hello.
How have you been?
Good.
Good to see you.
You too. All right.
Kirk Williams in the house.
I am in the house.
So, Kirk, I met you at an event, and you weren't there to perform, but I got a little taste of performance for you, which I've been talking about it ever since. It was hilarious. So, Kirk, where are you originally from?
I grew up in Mesa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I grew up in Mesa. Went 4th grade. Moved here from California.
Oh, okay.
And
I'm a native of Arizona.
yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, so I've been here ever since, and I am completely done with the heat after all these, after being here for 75 to 80 years.
You're tired of it, huh? You ready to go move to some snow or something?
Somewhere, yeah.
Have you ever tried it?
I visited, but I haven't moved. This is the only place I've ever lived.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you ain't that sick of our heat.
Some days it's terrible.
Some days it's terrible, huh?
Yeah.
So, Kirk, you are a comedian.
I am.
When did you realize you were wanting to step on that stage and be a comedian?
So I started like listening to stand-up comedy, and you kind of think I can do this. So I was listening to the radio one day, and there was a Eddie Brill, who actually worked for the David Letterman show as their warm-up comedian, was doing a class at the Tempe Improv. And so it was there that I met Jill Kimmel, and Jill is Jimmy Kimmel's sister. But Jill had an open mic every week. And so I went to her open mic, and I went on stage. This is about 2008. And I went on stage to do my set and said a few words, and then just froze up and dropped the mic and walked off stage. And I didn't go back. It was funny because I go outside, and they're outside. They're like giving me hugs and say, "Hey, it's okay. This happens." But I think I would go back periodically here and there. She had another open mic that she started at Dos Gringos. So that was but again, I wasn't consistent with it. So in 2020, about September, I started going to JP's in Gilbert and just open mic.
Just getting up
there, and then I would get booked to do guest spots at that club.
Okay.
And just, kind of just from there, just over time, getting more bookings for local shows and more stage time. So it was.
So you had a long gap there before you got back in.
I had a long gap,
But
the thing is it would never leave me. Like you still if there's something you like or interested in, then you just, but it was, as much as I wanted to do it, it was equally as scary and nerve-wracking. And it still kind of is. It still is.
Well, there's this saying that if it's not scary or it doesn't haunt you it's not for you. It isn't something that you really want to go after.
Right.
But there was something that was still haunting you there, sound like.
Exactly. And if you think about anything, like athletes, and no one starts off amazing. You have to keep going, and you have to do the uncomfortable thing.
Right. But you know what? Getting up there, making yourself vulnerable in front of people, that's a hard thing to do for the first time. especially if you're one of those people that you're passionate about it. You know you're good. You want to look good in front of people, but you get up there and you just freeze.
Yeah, there's been many times where I was on stage for I think I was doing a set at JP's, and I just went my mind went blank. I just completely blank. I'm
What
like,
happens when? How do you deal with that when your mind goes blank? Because when you're in front of a camera or you're on the stage, you're the one man. That's a one man show.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how do you deal with when that your mind just shuts down for a moment? What do you do?
It's a tough one because I had to take a deep breath, just mentally push through it. Like the first time I did the Tempe Improv for New Faces, there's a local show called New Faces of Comedy that he was introducing me, and I'm right in the back, and I had this surge of like, just I don't even know what to call it, just hit me, and I'm like, I can't do this, and now welcome Kirk Williams, and I walk out, and that's at some point I saw the audience, and everything went away, all the fears went away, and I embraced. I love to make eye contact with people and just connect with them on that level, and from there, I mean, that's, it was a lot easier, but still nervous. It was like one of my first times at the Improv, so you know.
You know what, and that's how it is. I've had those moments where you're behind the curtain and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to go out there. I'm not even in the mood to do it right now.
Yeah.
But when it's up and your turn to go,
yeah,
you have no choice.
And I got experience being in front of people by being a wedding DJ.
Oh, okay.
I started to do that in 2000, and I would find the same thing. I would like have a wedding and be all set up, and I would just be a bundle of nerves, just nervous, and but it's once I got to the grand entrance, like introducing the bride and groom, got through that, then it was smooth sailing from there.
Right.
But even up to that moment, like I found myself, and even my other.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you being transparent, because a lot of times people assume that because you're a stand-up comic or you're this type of speaker that you don't have those nerves, or you just perfect all the time.
No, and I was telling one of your tech guys that I went to Metallica last night, and James Hetfield even said, I still get nervous, which means you love this. Like if you're still, he's been doing this for like 35, maybe 40 years, and you're still getting nervous, which is good. You've got to have that.
You know what? I've always had that. And there's this saying, I think it was James Earl Jones that said it, and I can't remember the exact words, but he said how he got through that was by telling himself, your, what we call them, our nerves or whatever, reacts the same way when it's adrenaline pumping. So that's good adrenaline pumping.
Yeah.
So he took it as a positive thing, that his heart was racing and he was feeling the sweating or whatever, instead of thinking, oh, I'm just so nervous, because we're putting a negative piece to it. So I always think about that when I feel that way, what James Earl Jones said. I mean, and this is a big guy on TV and movies and stuff like that. But I always think of it that way because it's true.
Yeah.
We react the same way in both cases.
The other thing I would do that would help me is I would, as I was doing a wedding, as everyone's being seated or kind of waiting for things to go, I would visit the tables. I would talk to people. I'd be like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm the DJ. Anything you want to hear tonight? And, whatever. And it's for me, it's a mental icebreaker. And I'll do that the same thing at comedy shows. If I can interact with the audience a little bit and just talk to them beforehand, just let them know I'm real. I went to see Josh Wolf one time at the Improv, and he was outside talking to people in line.
Right.
And I thought that's a great way
That's a great opener for you. Right.
that really helps. That way I
Right.
feel like I'm
Well, you done introduced yourself. You done let those
yeah,
that good energy out, and they done felt it on you. So
yeah.
now all you have to do is get up there and do your
You
job.
just, and now I'm looking at it more as a conversation.
Yes.
And I've one of my friends who's pretty successful in comedy. Um, one of her things was try not to be funny.
Mm,
Try not to be funny, but try to be weird and just expressive. And
right.
I've been really mentally working on that. But it just helps to when you're there at whatever place you're at, just mingling with people.
But before we came on stage, you were telling me about a performance you had last week, and your family was there with you.
Yeah,
Tell us
yeah.
a little bit about that, how that went.
So it was a Burger Rush, and they do their open mic from 6 to 8, and then the feature at 8. And I invited, my family. They wanted to come, and so it was my mom, my stepdad, and then my stepsister and her husband. And a few people went up for open mic, a few comedians who did their time, and then all of a sudden, next thing, Steve's on stage, my brother, and I'm like, this is pretty cool, right on. And then my mom walks
Oh
up.
my
I'm like,
goodness.
this is crazy.
They said Kirk isn't gonna be the only comedian in the family.
That's right.
we had jokes before he did.
Yeah, and I was so excited to see her because, like I was telling you, her health isn't great, and so she's 71 and she's never done that
Oh.
to be on stage. So it was a big deal. I was really
Did she get it recorded?
yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
You know, but we've been talking about what you do here in our community. I know you brought some media. Why don't we take a look at
Okay,
and show
let's
our
take a look at
audience
that.
what you really do, okay?
I do have the best hair in the business, and so can you. All you got to do is go to Great Clips and ask for the junior college lesbian softball coach look. And we can be friends. I look like Val Kilmer. I look like Val Kilmer with diabetes. I mean, look at this smile, though, right? You guys like that? I know you do. You're checking me out when I came up here. Jeez. So I'm 51 years old, twice divorced, overweight, and I drive a Prius. Trust me, I get lots of chicks with this car. Okay, don't judge me. It's a pretty good car.
That was funny. So that was here in
That was
Phoenix.
at Stir Crazy in Glendale.
In Glendale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you work there much?
I haven't. That was one of my first times there. So they have an open mic on Wednesdays,
Okay.
and then you have to sign up for it at Sunday at noon, which is really hard to do. But then they have clean mic, open mic. It's called Clean Comedy USA, and that's run by Randy Hausner. And so,
Are you a clean comedian?
I do both.
Oh, okay.
Mostly clean, like PG-13. Sometimes I've gone a little off the rails a little bit, like an open mic, but generally, yeah. Try to.
Is that the style that you prefer to go with?
Yeah. I like to walk the edge, though. I'll be honest. Like I don't get too gross or anything, but honestly, every joke, every story is it's all true. Everything happened to me. But my comedy is based on my weird life.
Okay.
And so everything I tell, it's
pretty much about
it's
you.
about what's happened to me. And
Oh.
like the one where the girl walks out of the movie theater on a date. She never came back. Like how that could have like destroyed me when it happened, but I turned that around to make it funny.
So do you pick it yourself? You know, you
Yeah.
have these comedians that
I do.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have to because I'm a big guy and stuff, and there's humor in that though too because like they we just have problems. Like there's bending over to tie my shoe. If I don't pass out, if I don't like from breathing, then that's a good day. You know, right? Or like Bosa Donuts. I have a joke where I talk about Bosa Donuts and like the one on 43rd Avenue in Dunlap. They got to know me by my voice. I'd pull up and I'd ask for a croissant sandwich with ham, egg, and cheese, and they're like, "Ah, that Kirk?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me. Oh, we know what you want." And I got to know them.
Well, that's nice. You
Yeah.
had to go through all that. So, have you ever had someone that got upset with you because they thought you're making fat jokes or?
No.
No, okay.
No,
So
people love it.
So you didn't have any sexy large people in the room. That's why.
I mean, I call myself.
Look, I don't want them saying Catherine's calling them fat people, so I know.
Well, I say that like I don't like the word chubby or fat, so I just call it big sexy.
Oh, I like that.
That's better.
Okay.
You know, and there's people.
Well, you know what? Long as you're not making, I think it would be harder if you were. You know how some comedians would pick someone in the audience.
Yeah.
And if you did that, that would probably be.
No, I don't. I try to. Sometimes I'll be like, "Where are my big guys at? Where are my big?" And you know, people are like, "Yeah." And then I have them on my side because we all can relate to all the problems that like, you know, trying to.
Well, it sounds like it's not like you're making fun. You're just talking about your experiences and how you deal with those experiences.
Exactly. It's my comedy. I try to make it relatable because, you know, everyone in some fashion, not everyone, but a lot of people that have weight problems can relate. Or I have some dating blunders. I have, you know, just things that people can relate to, like how I struggled as a kid. I just struggled in school. Like you know, and so
you have a lot of material. Do you find yourself? Are you at home writing material or?
Yes, all the time, constantly writing. And what I've done is I've set up categories. So I start off with one category, and I know my jokes in that category, and then I know so like when I did Burger Rush the other night, they wanted an hour, and I was like, okay, let me give you 30. And so it turns out I have an hour. I forgot some jokes, which happens all the time. You forget jokes or little add-ons. But if I stay on point with those categories, so I know where I want to start and I know where I want to end. And in between, that's when I did a joke the other night at Burger Rush that I'd never done before. I wrote that joke on stage.
Oh, okay.
It was the first time. It just came to me. Because it was an experience that happened to me. And I went with it.
You had some time, so you put in a new joke.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Kirk, you pretty much just got started doing it. You're pretty new.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
About 3 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And you're out there doing it. Where do you want to see yourself? I don't know if you set goals, say in the next 5 years or so.
I want to see myself, and I'm already doing it, and that is doing corporate events.
Oh, okay.
Tonight's my second one, and tonight's a big one.
Oh, okay.
So that is big for me. And I don't put that on Facebook because I don't really care what other comedians know about me. What I want to do is get better and work on my craft. I have 3 people that I consult with my jokes, and one's a comedian, and the other 2 are fans of comedy, but they are they're honest with me, and so they don't sugarcoat it. They're like, "Nah, that wasn't your best," or "Hey, you need to smile more. You need to. You look so too tense." And I'm like, "Man, I'm having fun," but I look at some of these, look back, and I'm like, I do look
like you're tense.
So what I figured out is that's me trying to think of the next joke, and so it looks like I'm
read it on your face.
Nervous or stiff, and so.
Kirk, what advice would you give to an aspiring comedian?
Just go to an open mic and expect to not get any laughs, but keep going.
I'm like, yeah, I really want to do that.
And just write, and I started off rules of 3, the rule of 3s, blah blah blah. You know, though that formula works, and if you watch comedy, you'll notice a lot of comedians use that. You know,
Okay.
so that helps.
Where can our audience find you?
Well, like my next performance or whatever. Is that-
If they're looking for Kirk Williams, want to hire him for a job,
Okay.
or he has some events coming up, they want to go see you, where can they find you?
So I have my Instagram is Crazy AZ Comedian,
Okay.
and my next show is September 5th at House of Comedy
Okay.
with Mike Dapper,
Okay.
and then the 7th at Mic Drop Mania in Chandler.
Awesome.
And
Awesome. But
then-
they can find all that on
Yeah,
Instagram.
it's all on my Instagram, and then another show on the 12th at House of Comedy. It's called Trash or Treasure.
Wonderful.
So
Thanks for joining us here
Hey,
today.
thank
It was
you.
such a pleasure.
yeah, it's been great.
And thank you for joining us here today at Desertwood Days, and we'll catch you next time.
Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze was sponsored by Dork Publishing. Visit them at dorkpublishing.com.